freedom is rare. Authoritarianism is common.
So I was looking at some statistics that 53% of people in the world live under authoritarian governments. So the
Only
majority.
53. Oh, because India is democratic, so I guess they don't count India. But yeah, yes,
So how
it
do
used
we
to be 100.
how do we change
Exactly, yeah.
how do we change that? How do
And
we
even
change
the
that?
authoritarianism in a country like China is a lot less than it used to be under Mao, right? So I would they were better off than they were under Mao. That's a reality. How do we change it? We have to declare. We have to change the ethical views of people. This brings us back to selfishness, because it as long as the standard of morality is the group, others. As long as the standard of value is what other people want, what other people think, as long as you are alive only to be sacrificed to the group. That's why you have to challenge Christianity. As long as the Jesus on a cross dying for other people's sin is viewed as this noble, wonderful act instead of one of the most unjust things to ever happen to anybody, as long as the common good and the public interest are the standards by which we evaluate things, we will always drift towards fascism, some form of authoritarianism.
Can I
Yes,
answer
please.
your question? I think there's something that has to go along with what Yaron was saying, and I know he's going to agree with me, which is technology. Because if it becomes harder technologically for the authoritarian and more expensive for him to input or force his edicts, that is going to create a pocket of freedom regardless of what the masses think. And the masses, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
The masses as a rule are not going to be able to think in general anyway. I have a much more elitist view of mankind than Rand does. And let me give you one specific example, which I mentioned in my book, The New Right. Let's suppose it's 1990, not that long ago. We all remember 1990, and we're having an argument about censorship. And Yaron says, I want full freedom of the press, freedom of books, publish whatever you want, whatever, free speech. And I say, well, what about books like Mein Kampf? What about, people read this, they have the wrong idea. What about child pornography, things like this? Like, where are you going to draw the line? And we could argue along. Lex appears from the future, and he goes, hey, guys, this conversation is moot. And we're like, Lex, you look exactly the same. I'm like, yeah, of course, robots don't age. And you go, I'm from the future. And I go, wait a minute, black president? And you go, look, this conversation is moot because in a few years from now, you will be able to send any book anywhere on earth at the speed of light. You can make infinite copies in 1 second, and you could send it to anyone such that they can only open this book if they know a magic word. Mm-hmm. And I go, well, how much is this going to cost? Oh, it's free.
Free.
And I go, wait, you're telling me I can make infinite copies of any book and teleport them at the speed of light anywhere for free? And you would say, yes. We would think he's insane, but that's the status quo, right? So technology has done far more to fight government censorship of literature and ideas than it has spreading the right ideas. So when you have things like crypto, which makes money less accessible than a gold block in your house, when you have things like people being able to travel quickly, those are also necessary complements to having the right ideas. And Rand herself said that she couldn't have come up with her philosophy before the Industrial Revolution. So as time goes forward and we have more technology and we have more discourse.
But for very different reasons, she said that.
Sure,
right?
but it's also a lot easier to persuade people of the right ideas.
So I kind of agree. Maybe I'm more pessimistic, or maybe I don't get the technology completely.
That's because you're a boomer.
There you go.
Okay, boomer.
I get that insult a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm the last year of the boomer generation. I think I hit that last year. It's a mindset. There you go.
I love you so much.
So the reason she said she couldn't have developed her the reason she said she couldn't develop the philosophy without the Industrial Revolution is the link between reason and wealth was not obvious before the Industrial Revolution. And that, for example, it's not obvious to Aristotle. Aristotle doesn't see the link between rationality and wealth creation. Business is low, and money is barren. Money is barren. Interest has no productive function. Bankers don't have. So you had to see it existentially to be able to see reason is the source of wealth creation. So I think that's a little different. Now, there is a sense in which, yes, technology makes it more difficult for authoritarians to achieve their authoritarianism. I'm not convinced that they can't.
I didn't say can't.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't say can't. No,
yeah.
no.
So I don't think
at a certain point, I'm
because
just saying
they can
it's more
turn off the
expensive.
electricity.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
it becomes more expensive.
Yes,
That's all I'm
it becomes more expensive, no question. It becomes more expensive, and we're still beings that live in a physical reality. Therefore, they can still harm us in this physical reality.
But let me say this: like, it's going to sound as absurd. If there was technology that we could teleport anywhere on Earth at the speed of light,
Well, sure.
that would certainly go a long way towards hurting authoritarians.
Sure, if there was some way to go, and
Sure.
of course they could teleport too.
Sure.
And this is of course the danger of they can use the technology too.
Sure, absolutely.
And look at what the Chinese are doing with social scores and with monitoring people and cameras everywhere. So there's a sense in which you probably had more privacy before some of this technology.
Absolutely.
So it's not obvious to me so to me it's all about ideas. And if we don't get the ideas right, technology will be used for evil, yes, and it will allow some of us maybe to escape for a little while in some realms, but others not. Iran and North Korea do a pretty good job shutting themselves away from technology, although a lot gets through in the Iranian, at least with Iran. I don't know. I don't know about North Korea, how much gets through.
It's really undermining them, which is wonderful.
Yeah, which is great. So yes, but it's more than that, and this is what leads me to be optimistic. It's that we live in a world today where 7 billion people basically have access to all of human knowledge. All of human knowledge. It's not like in Rome. When Rome fell, all of human knowledge disappeared. Now, some of it escaped to Byzantines. Some of the Byzantines had and ultimately landed up with the Arabs and found its way back into Western civilization through them. But a lot of knowledge disappeared, just wiped out, right? How to build a dome, how to build a big dome, how to have, in Pompeii, they had faucets. They had running water in faucets. They didn't have faucets for another 1,000 years, right? They couldn't build tall buildings.
Yeah,
once Rome came down.
The Great Pyramid of Egypt was the tallest building on Earth till like 1840. It was crazy.
Rome was a city of 1 million people. Other than China, there wasn't another city of 1 million people in the West until London in the 19th century, 1,500 years later. So it all disappeared because all of it was concentrated basically in one place. Today, none of that exists because of the internet, because of universities everywhere, institutions. I mean, think about how many engineers there are in the world today, right? Who have basically all basically the same level of knowledge on how to build stuff. So even if the United States went to some kind of dark ages, it's unlikely the whole world goes into that kind of dark ages. So I am optimistic in that sense that the diffusion of knowledge is so broad today that other than wiping out all electricity on the planet, everything electronic on the planet, it's not going to be possible to control us all.
And there's also,
and in that sense, technology is going to make it possible for us to survive and to stay semi-free, because I don't think full freedom, but semi-free. Because full freedom, you need the ideas. Because full freedom means you need some political implementation.
No, full freedom means anarchy, but we know that.
No. Well, we need to get into that because we can't leave without pointing out that we fundamentally disagree about